Star Wars Tabletop Gaming is proudly supported by Gatekeeper Games, your key to gaming unplugged. A tabletop games store offering a friendly atmosphere for people to buy and play their games in the north of Fitzroy.
Welcome to episode 6 of Star Wars Tabletop Gaming. Today we'll be discussing the upgrade cards that will come in your core set with Legion and how they interact with units, the benefits of the different ones, and kind of what they're all about. So upgrade cards can be put on units, and each unit has different kinds of upgrades that it can have. So Darth Vader, for instance, is all about force powers, so he can have 3 different force power upgrade cards. Luke is a little different. He can have 2 force power upgrade cards and a tech upgrade. Stormtroopers, very different again. They can have a trooper upgrade, a specialist trooper upgrade. They can have a grenade upgrade and a tech upgrade. So all the different units can have different stuff. There are also light side and dark side upgrade cards. And also there are upgrade cards that are specific to units. So I know that a big fear with this game, and something FFG have done with their miniatures games in the past, has been that they've made it so that you have to buy pretty much every single box to get upgrade cards that you need to make powerful lists. Buying 3 of one ship just to get a few upgrade cards is very frustrating. I remember there was one of their big ships you had to buy to get C-3PO, and that was pretty much the only card people wanted out of that set. And subsequently he was going for like $60 for this tiny little card. So Legion is trying to avoid that, it looks like. Because a lot of their upgrades for Stormtrooper units are Stormtrooper only. Same with Rebel Troopers, Dark Side and Light Side Force Power cards. So it looks like the AT-RT weapons, for instance, are only for the AT-RT. So it looks like we won't have as big of an issue with Legion in regards to having to buy everything, Dark Side and Light Side, to get your hands on the upgrades you want specifically for your army. If you want to be a Rebel player or a Light Side player, it looks like that's how they're delineating between different sides, then you should just be able to buy the light side packs and be fine, except for maybe a few force powers. But if you're putting, Saber, Throw, and Luke, you're probably doing something wrong. So let's start looking at the upgrades. There's 18 upgrades in total. We'll go through them all, we'll discuss them, and that's what this episode's going to be about. So we will start with Jedi Mind Trick. I have them in front of me here, so that's why I'll be looking down. So Jedi Mind Trick, it is a force power. It only costs 5 points, so very cheap. It takes an action to use it, and it is exhaustible. So what are the tokens that represent that? So if you looked in the bottom left-hand corner of the upgrade card, that's the symbol that represents what kind of upgrade it is. And that symbol matches up to unit cards. So very easy to work out what units can and can't have, which is nice. In the bottom right of the upgrade card is its points cost, 5 in this case. The green kind of square or green area there with a arrow in it, that is the exhaustible symbol. So that tells us that once this force power is used, you then have to exhaust it. And then but it also might mean that might also be the symbol that tells us it's a free action as well. Either that, or it's the little action symbol next to the text, that double arrow thing there that says it's an action, and maybe that's what says is a free action. We probably won't know until the rules come out, but we might be able to work it out as we go too, because I know force powers are free actions, whereas firing a rocket launcher is not. So we'll wait until we get to those different upgrade cards and we'll work it out. So Jedi Mind Trick reads: choose an enemy trooper unit at range 1 to 2. It gains 2 suppression tokens. I think this is going to be super powerful, and for only 5 points, I really want to put this on Luke. Luke doesn't focus on giving out suppression tokens like Darth Vader does, who has that excellent order that gives out 3. But being able to put out 2 suppression tokens and pinning different units here and there might be really powerful. Will he be able to use this consistently? I mean, probably not. So it's an exhaustible action, which means when you use this once, it becomes exhausted, and then to do it again, you have to spend an action to flip it back up. Now, Luke only has 2 actions per turn, just like everybody else, and what you want him to do is to be jumping around, force jumping around, and just ripping apart troop units with his lightsaber or locking down Darth Vader. So, I mean, I love the idea of giving suppression tokens to a unit. Is it practical? Maybe not. Is this how you want to be using Luke's actions? Maybe not. But if we get a Jedi or a light side Force user who's a bit cheaper and isn't as good in close combat, this might be a really cool little upgrade to get them to jump around pinning units while your main commander focuses on tearing them apart once they can't go anywhere in close combat. So it's something to think about. Next upgrade, it's another Force power, and it is Battle Meditation. So this doesn't say light side or dark side, so either Luke or Darth Vader in the core set will be able to use this. Battle Meditation is a Force power, and it is 10 points, so a little more expensive than Jedi Mind Trick. And it reads, when you issue orders, one of those orders can be issued to any friendly unit on the battlefield. Now, this is going to be interesting. So, we know that issuing orders is powerful. It allows that unit to activate when you want it to activate, as opposed to being random. And there's certain other benefits that come with issuing orders. One of Luke's order cards, for instance, reads that when you issue an order to a unit, it gains a dodge token. So you're going to want to spread your units across the table. And when you do that, it means they're being spread outside of order range, potentially, especially on a 6 by 3 foot table, which is going to be the standard tournament play size. So maybe you've got a trooper unit that's holding an objective and you really need them to survive, but they're probably not going to be within 18 inches of Luke. Maybe, because the objectives are going to be spread across the table. So what Battle Meditation allows you to do is give that order to that unit, which means it's activating when you want it to, and if the order has dodge tokens in it, giving it that dodge token, which will make it a lot more survivable, especially for Rebel troopers who have Nimble. So, something to keep in mind, Battle Meditation will be good in the right circumstances. It'll all come down to how powerful giving orders to units are, which we can't really know yet, and we'll just have to wait and see. But FFG seem to think it's pretty powerful, putting it at 10 points. Next, that is Battle Meditation. Next up is Force Choke. Now this one's a lot more exciting. Once again, only 5 points. So killing things, which is what Force Choke is about, is worth less than Battle Meditation at 10, which is interesting. So, Force Choke is a dark side only upgrade card, and it is a Force power, and it costs 5 points, and it has the exhaustible symbol on it, and it also has that double arrow, which means it's an action that you're taking, and it says, choose an enemy trooper mini at range 1 that is not a commander, so you can't choke Luke. It suffers 1 wound. Now, there's been a bit of debate exactly how this works. Can you, for instance, target the leader within a trooper unit? So you come up against some rebel troopers, they've obviously got their leader, which everything is measured from. Can you just choke him out, and what impact does that have on the game? I'm going to say possibly not, or maybe then just one of the other miniatures steps up to be a leader. But it's interesting that they've said mini, because if the defender was able to choose, that word probably wouldn't be in there. It'd just say enemy trooper unit, it suffers 1 wound. So this, for me, it says that you'd be able to, if there's a special weapon trooper in that unit, you'd be able to use Force Choke to find them out and take out that special weapon, which makes sense. If it only does 1 wound, what's the point? Why wouldn't you just use Saber Throw as your action instead? So I think you're going to be able to use Force Choke to kill off special weapons, and that obviously removes them from the unit. Will you be able to kill leaders? What impact does that have? I'm not sure. We'll have to wait for erratas or the actual rulebook. But definitely Force Choke I think is really cool for singling out and getting rid of special weapons, which we'll have a look at a little soon, or what are they called? Specialist Troopers, which we'll have a look at, because those are going to be really powerful dice. Sometimes those specialist trooper units, trooper minis, can put out as much damage as the rest of the unit. So I think Force Choke's definitely going to see play, and I think it's going to be really good on Vader. Maybe, noting it's really slow and probably won't be able to get to too many units. I don't know, maybe we see a faster dark side Force user. This might be a little more powerful. Next up is Force Push. It is exhaustible, it is an action, and it costs 10 points. So this is one that you're using to move other units. It says, choose an enemy trooper unit at range 1, perform a speed 1 move with that unit, even if it is engaged. So plenty of ways you could use this. Maybe you've put Force Push on Luke, and he's been bogged down by an enemy trooper unit, and you need him to get out of there and, I don't know, cut down some other stuff. So you Force Push that enemy trooper unit away from you, and you go cut down some other stuff, because you don't need to be bogged down if you're in an unfavourable position. Or maybe you're Darth Vader and you're trudging slowly across the battlefield and you want to bring that trooper unit close to you so you can actually engage it or get into combat with it, whatever terminology we're using. So you use Force Push, you bring them out of cover, and you then charge into them. Amazing. Noting it's only at range 1, so you're going to need to be pretty close to start with. It's only 6 inches. Interesting. So keep that in mind. You could also use it to pull units out of cover so that other units can shoot at them and actually get some damage on them. So I really like Force Push. I think it's going to have lots of utility to get into combat, keep your options open, help that synergy with your other units. Really powerful. And I think it's going to be really good on Luke, who will be already jumping around and causing havoc and can actually get to different places on the table. Noting that it does take an action to stand up. Just for clarity, in case you weren't aware, Darth Vader has an ability which allows him to regen, or whatever you want to call it, unexhaust? Sure. A force power each turn for free. So it's almost like he has 3 actions per turn, which is so cool. So whatever force power you put on Vader, you could theoretically use every single turn without spending an action to do so. So really cool. And these are free. These are free actions, people. You could move, force push someone close to you, and then move again to get into combat, and then attack with Vader, for instance. So just cool stuff. All right, next is Saber Throw. Now this is what you're going to want to be doing with Vader. This is the one you're going to want to be... Oh, it's not exhaustible either. Maybe. Ooh, interesting. Is it exhaustible? It doesn't have that arrow symbol, and it doesn't have the double arrow. It just has a thick arrow. So many symbols, so much we don't know about. So I'm gonna... Ooh, or are all force powers exhaustible? I'm not sure. Either way, Saber Throw is definitely what you're going to want to put on Vader, and it reads, choose one... it's force power, 10 points. Choose one of your melee weapons. Remember, Vader has that 6 red dice lightsaber. Perform a ranged attack with that weapon against an enemy unit at range 1 to 2, so up to 12 inches away, using half of that weapon's dice, so 3 red dice for Vader, rounding up. This is treated as an attack action. Okay, interesting. Maybe that's what that thick arrow means. It means it's an attack action. So, super great. So, Vader obviously doesn't have any ranged weapons as a base unit, whereas Luke has his DL-44 blaster, I believe. Yeah, that sounds good. Which has the 2 red dice. So this gives Vader essentially a ranged weapon of range 1 to 2 with 3 red dice. Amazing. And really helps him because he's so slow as well. So this is at least going to be able to let him do some damage as he trudges across the battlefield. So I know I'm always going to be putting Saber Throw on Vader because it's just great. At least until we start seeing some other upgrades. I think this one out of the core set is definitely what he wants. And I mean, FFG hint at these things in the art as well. With Vader being on the art, it says, yeah, okay, that's what you want to do with this. You wouldn't put it on Luke. He'd be throwing 3 black dice, which is arguably worse than 2 red dice, and you're paying 10 extra points to do it. So, waste of time. So Vader is the one to go with Saber Throw. Oh, and because of his ability, he can move and then do this for free, because he gets to do an attack action after he moves. Whereas Luke only gets to do a kind of close combat after he moves, because he has charge instead of whatever Vader has. So yep, Saber Throw on Vader, people. And I think this is the last force power we have in the core set, and it is called Force Reflexes. So it says gain 1 dodge token. Full stop. I mean, your force users have deflect with their lightsabers, which means they're using dodge tokens to send hits back at enemy units that are shooting on them, which is a huge deterrent to shoot at them. So I guess, okay, that's super powerful. So maybe 15 points though. How much was Saber Throw? Like 10? Whew, 15 points. And it's exhaustible. I don't know. So maybe you want to put Force Reflexes on Vader and have him using it, and this is the one he's standing back up every turn to use, because I mean, it's the most expensive force power, so this is the one you'd want to unexhaust for free every turn, and gain kind of endless dodge tokens on Vader. Put wounds back on enemies as he walks across while he Saber Throws. Yeah, maybe that could be a thing. I don't think I'd put it on Luke. I want him doing other things with his actions. But yeah, Force Reflexes could be really good on Vader. 15 points, wow, it's huge. Okay, so that is all of the force powers. That is what is going to spice up your commanders and kind of dictate how you use them on the battlefield. Depending on what upgrades you give your commanders really dictates what role you want them to have. And I think it's nice. It makes them interesting so that everyone's not using their Luke or everyone's using their Vader to do the same thing and just get into combat with each other and lock each other down. This will give you a lot more flexibility in how you use your commanders. So those are our Force powers.
The upgrade episode went a little longer than I thought it would, so we'll call this part 1. We'll cut it at the end of the Force powers, and stay tuned for next episode, part 2, for all of the Trooper, Tech, Grenade, Specialist, etc. upgrades. Thank you for watching, and may the Force be with you.